There's nothing more exciting than the official-unofficial start to the season and finally getting some seedlings into the ground.
We're super close, and if you've bought your young plants at the store, you're basically good to go. If, however, you started your own seedlings early indoors, well, we've got one more step.
Indoor life for plants is a cushy gig. Perfect temps, steady light, and air so still that it feels like it's not even there. Great for fast, lush growth, but not so great to be set up for outdoor success.
So today, I've got 5 tips for hardening off your indoor seedlings before planting them outside. 5 quick hints to point you in the right direction of this fairly straightforward but necessary process.
For those of you unfamiliar with the practice or even the term, hardening off simply refers to the gradual acclimation of young plants started indoors to the much harsher environment of outdoor life.
The biggest misconception about hardening off is that people think it's all about temperatures. And while hot and cold extremes do play a part, this process goes much deeper than that.
In fact, there's 4 main parameters that change drastically from indoors to outside: light intensity, wind and air motion, evaporation and humidity, and of course those temperatures.
Inside, even in my greenhouse here, the range of those environmental parameters is severely muted. The plants enjoy an easy, cushy start to their life, and they reward us with fast, amazing, lush growth.
But it's not growth that's suited for the outdoors. Plants grown inside are pampered with high humidity, zero wind, stable temperatures, and even light. Because they don't need to conserve water or really protect themselves, they don't generate nearly as thick a skin as they would if they were growing outdoors. This skin, an epicular layer, is known as the cuticle.
Brought outside without being acclimatized to the harsher environment, and our plants could experience sunburn, windburn, rapid water loss, transplant shock, and in extreme cases, even death. It's up to us to make sure that this doesn't happen.
The process, although necessary, is not hard, and it only takes about 2 weeks provided we do it right.
And doing it right means starting it at the correct time. Just because the plants are ready to go outside doesn't mean that the outside is ready to receive them.
Of course, this'll mean different things for different crops, but most certainly will want to be past our last spring frost date. Lettuces, kales, brassicas, and even squashes can go out in the garden on or around that date, so start the hardening off process about 2 weeks prior. Tomatoes and most certainly peppers and melons need it a little bit warmer, so we can start the hardening off process on that frost date for planting about 2 weeks after. Timing is definitely key, and too early can mean a whole lot of wasted effort if we're not careful.
Just as timing is important, so is time. As in, the time it takes to fully harden off our plants. 2 weeks is generally enough, but some crops can take longer. Not only that, the weather you'll find, well, sometimes it just doesn't cooperate.
Take a methodical and purposeful approach and observe not only the progress of your plants, but also the immediate forecast. Try not to harden off on a smoking hot day or in the middle of a storm just to hit a specific planting date. 2 weeks is generally enough, but it's also not an exact science.
Okay, we got our timing down for when to start and a general feel for how long to do it for. Can we just go ahead and pick any day to start the hardening off process? No, not if we want to be successful with it.
The key to hardening off is that it's a gradual process. If the plants could take the sudden and drastic environmental changes, well, then we wouldn't need to be doing this in the first place. Starting off slowly with just a few hours at a time, pick a day that's cool but not cold, calm instead of windy, and overcast to avoid any direct, intense sunlight. If it does happen to be sunny out, dappled shade works perfectly fine. Just keep an eye on it as the sun moves. Wind, light, and temperature are the biggest stresses for the plants here, so the less drastic we can make it for them, the better the start they'll have. This is a transition where slow and steady definitely wins the race.
Something that can really help out keeping the conditions safe for the plants and not too harsh or intense is picking the right spot.
Fences, greenhouses, or even other plants can provide areas of refuge so that we can harden off in a safe and more controlled environment. It's all about gradual entry to the outdoors. Trust me, the plants will have plenty of time for heat, wind, and stress all summer long.
And lastly, one super important tip that's almost always overlooked is moisture.
Lush, indoor plants can dry out and desiccate much faster than those that have always been growing outside. Remember that lack of armor, that lack of a cuticle. So, remember to water your seedlings before bringing them outside, even in the beginning when it's cooler and it's only a few hours.
It may seem much more difficult and complicated than, say, this direct seeded corn, but hardening off is a fairly straightforward process. Still, that's a lot of information. Let's go ahead and recap the main points to make sure that they all stick.
Seedlings and young plants that have only been grown indoors can't simply be planted straight out into your garden. They need a period of general acclimation to the more drastic environment over the course of about 2 weeks. This is known as hardening off. We all want that head start so that we can get to the harvest faster and enjoy our gardens for longer.
But for indoor plants, we have to be smart and meticulous about hardening them off properly. Hopefully, the 5 tips we discussed here today do just that and lead you to your best season ever. As always, guys, happy growing, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks so much for stopping by and doing some gardening with me. Now more than ever, there's a huge benefit to growing our own food at home. Please consider subscribing and checking out this playlist here. Also, sign up for my free courses using the link on the screen as we dive even deeper into the world of backyard vegetable gardening.